Hi, I'm Angela Teresi, and I am a Bronc Pro Team artist. And today I want to talk to you about Bronc's brand new permanent makeup machine, the Siren. This is it right here. I just got this about a week ago, and I'm so excited to unbox it with you and to tell you all about it. So I've used it about 4 or 5 times so far, and so far I'm loving it. I do see some differences from the other Bronc machines that I have. So I have this one here. This is the Bronc Magic, and this is the Miceya Nymph, which is the one that I was using almost exclusively until I got this new one. So this one I definitely really do love. This one functions beautifully as low as 4 volts. And I have an unboxing video for this on my channel. I will put the link below in the description, and you can check out the unboxing video that I did for this Miceya Nymph here. And this is a really great machine. I absolutely love it. One of the things that I don't like about it is that I feel, for me personally, that maybe it has something to do with the like the vibration of the machine. Maybe it's me when I'm picking it up and using it, but I feel like my needle will start to retract inwards and I have to kind of twist it back again. And so aside from that, this is my go-to machine lately. I've been using it almost exclusively. And other than that little thing where I have to, adjust it a little bit every once in a while, I love this machine. So switching to a newer machine is, kind of like a learning curve. And so I have been playing around with it and it does not disappoint. So let's get into it. Here we are. This is the Bronc Siren, and this is how it arrives. Now, I do love the way that this looks, but these are all of the colors that this machine comes in. Unfortunately, it does not come in this kind of ombre rainbow looking color, which I'm really kind of upset that they put that on there because now I want it. So, but that is neither here nor there. There's some stickers in here. I don't know why we as tattoo artists love stickers so much, but in the box, here are all the stickers. Awesome. And then, all right, so what we have in here is we have the machine itself. We have the machine with the battery. We have a spare battery, which is huge. We have the charging plug. We have the charging cable. We have some spare O-rings for machine maintenance. And then we've got this little guy, which is a RCA adapter plug. So if you are using the machine as a wireless machine, it's amazing because you've got 2 batteries, which is a big plus, especially if you do a lot of work and maybe you don't have time in between clients to charge your machine. You can charge one battery while you're using the other one. And if for some reason you don't like using the battery, or the battery's not working, or you weren't able to charge it, or you forgot to charge it, you can always hook it up to a RCA cable, which is an amazing feature to have because, in my opinion, you always want to have a backup of some kind. And that's one of the ways to at least have a backup, because if you're like me, you'll go away for a couple of days, or you'll have a few days off and you'll forget to plug your machines in when you get in the morning, and then of course you start your procedure and your machine dies. And so having spare machines is always a good idea, and also having options, especially options for batteries and RCA plugs, is amazing. So let's first take the machine out and have a look at it. So here we go. Now, of course, like I said, this machine comes in red, green, silver, pink, and black. And since I already have the pinky purple one in the Nymph, I wanted to get the black. 2 of my favorite colors. This is what the machine looks like. It is a universal cartridge machine, so it fits all universal cartridges. And you're going to pop the battery off by unscrewing it here, like that. And then, like I said, if you want to use the RCA cable so that it becomes a corded machine, I will say the battery is extremely lightweight. So if you're worried about the battery pack making the machine too heavy, that's really not an issue. But if you wanted to take that extra tiny bit of weight off and use it as a corded machine, it does shorten the length of the machine if that's more comfortable in your hand, and you can absolutely put it on that simply, that easily with just a twist, and now you've got a corded machine. So let's put this back on. Nice and easy twist. So now let's take a look at some of these features. So there is the power button over here, and we're just going to press and hold, and it turns on, and you can see there is the readout display here. And so this is showing me 7.1 is what I have it set on right now for voltage. And then this is the running time. It gives you like a running time count over there. And then of course the battery. There is a plus and minus button on both sides. Right, so if we want to change the voltage, and this goes from 4.0 volts, 4 volts, all the way up to, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Up to 12 volts. I'm going to bring this back down because 12 volts is a little high. Let's go down. Actually, let's go down to 4 volts and let's give a listen. So I'll just turn the machine on. And I don't know, I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. The vibration on this is very low and the sound is almost non-existent. I'm going to, just for comparison, let's turn on the Miceya Nymph, and let's also put this down at 4 volts. So again, this is also very quiet. It has a different sound than this one, but they're both very quiet, very soft sounding. And the vibration in both of them, the vibration, I would say, is similar, but I definitely feel like the Bronc Siren has definitely got a little bit less of a vibration. Neither one is high vibration, but for sure, I feel like this one is giving me a little less. I don't know if it's just, in the handle design or if it's the motor itself, but let's talk about the motor. So this is a 5 to 12 volt voltage range motor. It's a Swiss brushless DC motor with 95% efficiency, low vibration, and extra quiet performance. That we just listened to it at 4 volts. Let's raise it up to something a bit higher, maybe 9 volts, which is something we really don't see very often when we're doing permanent makeup, but let's see what that sounds like. And let's raise the Nymph up as well. All right, so I have them both set on 9 volts. Let's turn this one on. So a little louder. The sound here is a little bit louder, but vibration seems almost exactly the same as it was before. I don't really feel very much difference in the vibration. And this is the Miceya Nymph. And again, a little bit louder, but not a really noticeable difference for the client. I will say this one does feel like it vibrates a little bit more in my hand than this one at 9 volts. So again, earlier, this one vibrated just a little bit more than this one. It feels like, I'm not sure if it's just the housing, in the handpiece here that's giving a different type of vibration, but this one is definitely a little softer, a little smoother. So let's turn those both off. Okay. And also weight-wise, they are about the same. The Bronc Magic is also, The Bronc Magic is also similar in weight. And I'm just going to turn this on. This is on at 6 volts. And let's do this one at 6 volts. All right, so 6 volts here, 6 volts here. So the Magic, I feel like, is just a little bit quieter than this one, but vibration wise, they seem pretty equal, and definitely in weight, they seem pretty equal. So if you're wondering, what is the difference between all three of these machines? Well, these two, although they are great machines and I do use them and I like them, and I was saying before that this one is a little too smooth on the turning, and so sometimes I feel like my needle length changes a little bit, but this one has clicks. I don't know if you can hear that, but this one does click. But for me personally, I do find that when it's all wrapped up, it's hard for me to move the clicking mechanism, which is not a very big deal, but it's just a little something. And so with this one also has a clicking. So. So you can hear very clearly that it's clicking, but it has a smooth twist. It's not very hard to twist. And I'm twisting it by holding right here because there's other things that are on the move here. So this is going to twist and it's going to change the length of your needle overhang. And so that's, for me, a big deal, because like I said, the other one, my biggest complaint with it is that I feel like because it doesn't click into place, that it can move a little bit easier. But this one so far, again, I've only used it about 4 times, but I have not noticed any change in my needle length that I'm working with. And so the clicking, it's easy for me to adjust needle length, and it's also not moving for me while I'm working. So big plus there. Now this here, if we look here with these numbers, what makes this machine different from the other ones, and also from most of the other machines on the market, is that this one can change stroke length. Now, other machines can change stroke length, but they often require taking some part of the machine off and then changing something. So I have another machine that I use that when it first came out, it was the only one on the market that it came with extra cams, and you can change the stroke length of the machine by changing the cam. Unfortunately, it required taking the machine apart and unscrewing the old cam, putting the new one in, putting the machine back together. Also not a very big deal because it was very simple, but if I can change while I am using the pen without even taking my barrier film off, that's huge. And so you might be wondering, why do I need to change the stroke length? And unfortunately, there's not a short answer to that, but there are different reasons why you might want to use a shorter or a longer stroke length. Now, we're not talking about here. This part here that we were twisting before with the clicking, that's changing how much your needle is sticking out of the cartridge. But your stroke length has to do with your duty cycle. So it is the distance that the needle is going to travel down and then back up. And that completes one duty cycle. And so the distance it comes down and up here would be like a long stroke length. And if it's down here and it's just doing that, that's a short stroke length. And again, depending on the needle that you're using, the type of skin that you're working on, the technique that you're doing, you might want a shorter or a longer stroke length. And particularly if you're switching between permanent makeup and maybe scar work, or permanent makeup and traditional tattoos, you might also want different stroke lengths. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to take your machine apart, especially if you want to change during procedure, like mid-procedure. And so that just happened to me today. I was working on lips on I don't want to say older woman because she's not much older than me, and she's certainly not elderly, but she does have a little bit thinner skin, more mature lips. And so I was working on her where are we? I was working on her at here, right in between 3.2 and 2.9, so about 3.0. And I felt like I needed a shorter stroke length. And so it was literally as simple as clicking 2 over, and I went here between the 2.8 and the 2.6. So 2.7, right? And, or I'm sorry, 2.9 and 2.6, so about 2.7-ish or so. And so it was that easy for me to change it. I didn't have to unwrap it. I didn't have to undo anything and take my gloves off and all that stuff. I was just able to twist it and change my stroke length, and that fixed the problem that I was having, and I continued on with my work. So this alone, being able to change the stroke length, especially if you're a more advanced artist and that is important to you, that you work with different stroke lengths, this is an invaluable feature, and I'm so excited to see it on this machine. So let's talk a little bit about the battery. This is an 1800 mAh lithium ion rechargeable battery. And again, there are 2 of them. So we do have a spare. There are 2. And the runtime is approximately 4 hours per charge, which is enough. If you're doing traditional tattoos, you probably go longer than 4 hours and would need a charge, which is, of course, what makes the spare battery so important. But particularly in permanent makeup, where most of our procedures are between 2 to 4 hours, I really don't see a lot of people going longer than that. And so it fits right into that battery schedule, and then you can go ahead and plug it in and recharge it. But again, you've got the spare battery just in case. And the charging time, full charge time on this is going to be 2 to 3 hours, and it's done via a USB-C, which is so right there. And it comes with that, but it's very handy for me because I have a Samsung Galaxy, which also takes the USB-C. So I've got those plugs all over the place. And so for me, very convenient. All right, so we talked about the adjustable stroke length. And again, this is going from 2.6 to 4.0, which really covers all of your needs for tattooing. This is really the range that most standard machines come in for permanent makeup or for traditional tattooing. And so with that range of stroke lengths, you're really going to be able to get most of everything that you want to do done. I don't really see much of a need for other stroke lengths in here. So I would consider that to be a comprehensive range. Now, going back to this piece here, the needle length. It's listed in their specs as needle depth, and that again is the length that the needle is going to be sticking out of the cartridge, not the stroke length, not the duty cycle, but the length with which it's sticking out of the cartridge. Again, it's a manual twist with a click, so it's nice and sturdy and stable, but also easy to move when you want to. And this is going to be 0 millimeters to 4.5 millimeters. So the needle depth on here is going to be 0 millimeters to 4.5 millimeters, which kind of sounds like a lot. I don't think I know anybody who tattoos with their needle hang as much as 4.5 millimeters. However, one thing that I do notice with the Miceya Nymph is that when I'm using that machine, if I use it with Vertex needle cartridges, which all of these machines that I'm showing you today are universal cartridges, so you can use any cartridge you like. I typically use Bronc and Big Wasp cartridges. On occasion, I have some Vertex needles that I like. And so with the Vertex needles, what I notice with the Miceya Nymph is that I don't have enough needle length. And so I twist the machine all the way down to the max length, and I'm not getting enough needle hang out of the tip for what I like to work at. And so for me, having a 4.5 millimeter available stroke length is useful, not because I want my needle to stick out 4.5 millimeters, but in case I'm using a cartridge that's a little longer like that and I need the extra length, it's there for me. So if you're a Vertex needle user and you've had that problem before, or if you use some other needle brand that seems like it's a little long in the cartridge, this is going to be really helpful for you. So now here it says high color or high colorful rather. And I was wondering if maybe that was something that was kind of like lost in translation because this is a Chinese company. And so maybe when they translate from Chinese into English, it loses something. And so, I looked it up, and basically what it's telling us is that it is a full color LCD screen. And you can see that right there. It is colorful, which may not be important to you, but I like it. It looks nice. And it also visually, it makes it easier for me to just glance over and see the numbers in different colors. And then I know what I'm looking at without kind of like staring at it. Um, I don't know if that's an important feature to you, but I like it. It's nice to have. And of course, with the buttons all the way up here, we're not in danger of pressing them while we're working because we're holding down here. So they're up here, easy to access right underneath the display. This one, the Miceya Nymph, is up at the top, and I don't really mind so much. I don't feel like it's much of a difference, but it's just a different feature that's on this one. The machine itself is stainless steel and anodized aluminum alloy. I'm sorry, I tried to do that so many times. I'm having trouble with my words. Stainless steel anodized aluminum alloy. It weighs 152 grams with the battery installed. If I remember correctly, I think the Miceya Nymph is like around 150 or 160. So like I said before, they do feel, physically, they feel roughly the same. And if I'm remembering the numbers correctly, then they are. Now, some of the other things that I noticed with working with this, it is, like I said, pretty quiet. The vibration is pretty low, and so it's not bothering me at all. It is light enough that I can work on my pinky when I want to, and I can utilize pendulum motion. And so I absolutely don't feel like that you can't do this technique with it. One of the things I like so much about the Miceya is that the ergonomic design here really lets me hold this. And because of the weight balance in here, I'm able to, work a pendulum motion pretty, fairly easily. I didn't notice much of a difference with this one. Again, it's so very well balanced that even though that the shape, the ergonomic hand design is different, it still has like a nice pendulum motion. My fingers, the 4 times that I use it, my fingers are not feeling fatigued. My hand is not feeling fatigued. So that's excellent. But what I did notice is that things that I've been doing, like lips on more mature clients that I use the Miceya Nymph for, I can work between 4.0 and 5.5 and have it be very, very soft and also get the work done. Today with this one, when I was using it for lips, I did go to 5.5, and I feel like that was giving me more of like maybe a 4.5 or a 5 result that I was getting with the Miceya Nymph. That might be a fluke. I'll talk about it again in the future when I've had some more experience with it. But at this particular point in time, I do feel like even though this is an amazing, strong Swiss brushless motor, I did feel like I need to jump up a little bit in the voltage. But it was still nice and soft, and I'll try to include a picture in with this when I edit the video, because when I tell you the color went in beautifully, the needles worked smoothly. I had it set, like I said, kind of moving this around, I had it set right in between the 2.6 and the 2.9. And when I tell you I did not see a speck of blood or any swelling, and she was fairly comfortable throughout the procedure. So I'm very impressed with that. I used it so far this week for eyeliner on a much older woman. And again, no swelling, no pain, very comfortable, and barely any redness. Color went in like a dream. So performance-wise, I would say I'm definitely really loving this. Not to say that the Miceya, that the Nymph is much different. I don't typically see a lot of swelling with my lip and eyeliner clients, but I do get it sometimes. But I will say that I was really impressed. I barely saw any signs of trauma using this pen this week. And I also did 2 brow procedures. Both were powder brows, and so I haven't had a chance to use it as a hair stroke brow yet, but of course I will make another video after I've had a little bit more experience with it. But so far, this machine is a solid build. It is a great machine, and the fact that I have an extra battery plus a RCA adapter means that I don't ever have to worry about my batteries dying. I don't ever have to worry that I forgot to charge it or that I plugged it in and didn't plug it into the wall, which is something that I probably do more often than I'd like to admit. And I've at this point, I have no complaints. I'm very excited to be using this. Thank you so much to the Bronc team and everyone over at Bronc for sending this to me. And I can't wait to make some videos and show you it in use. I'm going to try to do a practice pad video pretty soon here, and then some procedure videos so that you could see it in action. If you would like to purchase this machine, you can purchase it directly from Bronc Tattoo Supply, and you can use my code Angela15 for 15% off, or you can just click the link in my bio and get it there. That's it for now. Check out all of the Bronc products. I've been using Bronc needles for a very long time. I've been using Big Wasp, which is a Bronc company, for probably 15 years since their first generation. They're on their 4th generation needles and the new energy needles, which are the little orange ones with the finger ledge that you see me using in most of my videos. I absolutely adore those needles, and they come in so many different varieties of needle diameter and cartridge sizes. And so I absolutely, it is my go-to needle, but I also do enjoy the Bronc branded needles as well as the Miceya PMU branded needles, and Bronc also has PMU branded needles. So they're all great. For me, I feel like they're all very similar. Some just have different cartridge designs that I happen to like better than others. So try them out, check them out. Use my code and you'll get 15% off. And if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll try to make a video to answer them.